This video is going to be a lot more complicated than I thought initially. Look, I went ahead and reviewed Gus Johnson, Curtis Connor, Noel Miller, and Ryan Long in the last video, and a lot of my comments were, oh my god, are you going to talk about Tommyinnit? You got to talk about Tommyinnit. Talk about Tommyinnit. Oh my god. All right, okay, I'm going to talk about Tommyinnit. God damn. Now, to be frank, I don't know a lot about Tommyinnit. Everything I've learned about this man has been against my will. I was a big fan of him nagging Jimmy about the Beast Burger. Do we have a clip?
Wow. Oh, you don't say that tastes amazing.
There is no man behind those Adderall eyes, I tell you. No, and everything I've learned about the Tommyinnit Dream SMP beef conflict, whatever, I've heard from Adam McIntyre. And that's saying something. I was personal friends with Carl Jacobs. Oh my god, Jake, stop name dropping. You've been in LA for 10 goddamn minutes. All right, I'll quit. No, I released that video and all the comments said, you gotta review Tommyinnit's special. Look at Tommyinnit's special. Everyone says that Tommyinnit's bad at stand-up, blah, 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 blah. Well, I tried to find Tommyinnit's stand-up. Does Tommyinnit even do stand-up? All I could find was one video on some random channel with 100 subscribers, and then his live show that was released 2 years ago, which was, again, like stated in the previous video, a variety show more akin to what that YouTuber does in relation to what he would do for a live show. He did exactly what I said YouTubers do, that is stand-up adjacent. Oh my god, Jake, you're so oh my god, you genius. No, but you people asked for it. Tommyinnit's a hot name right now, and I'm a slave to the bag, so let's talk about it. Before we can talk about if whether or not Tommyinnit beats the unfunny allegations, first we have to ask ourselves, is he cringe? Is Tommyinnit cringe? Yes. Yes, he is. But that's okay. Tommy, look, from one cringe to another, look, I'm not beating the cringe allegations and neither are you. It's fine, you know? It takes a level of boldness to be cringe. It takes a level of experimentalness. Experiment? A willingness to experiment. Are you cringe or just creative and passionate and maybe a little socially inept, you know? Now, from what I could gather from this random YouTube video and his live show, is that he's just a kid, lay off. No, to say that he is influenced by Bo Burnham is an understatement. I mean, the guy opens up his thing with a section from White Woman's Instagram, I believe. One of the songs from Inside. And look, you guys know me, I love Bo Burnham, but opening up your special with another comedian's bit, you know? Is it an homage? Is it just, I love that song, I'll play it at my thing. And then to have the structure of the show, at least his solo portions, be very, very, very set up exactly the way Bo Burnham would do, say, Left Brain, Right Brain, or that breakup song where the one guy goes, eat a dick, you know? It feels like middle career Bo Burnham. You know, that we think we know you era Bo Burnham. And look, I was there wearing a white t-shirt in my bedroom doing we think we know you. You changed, you suck. You know, I was there. In the trenches, I was there. And Tommyinnit is clearly not shy about brazenly broadcasting his influences on his neon sleeves. At some point, I do find it maybe marginally annoying. Is he wearing his influences on his sleeve and doing something new with the format? Or is he just ripping Bo Burnham? And honestly, gets a little hazy, that line. On some level, I want to empathize with somebody who is very, very young, who is just trying stuff out. Wearing his influences on his sleeve, that's what we all did, especially when we're young, especially when we were starting out. I do want to say though, because Bo Burnham is doing this authentically, and Tommyinnit is kind of doing it retrospectively, that it does create a dissonance between Bo Burnham's original artistic intention and what Tommyinnit is doing here. What Tommyinnit is doing here is like taking Bo Burnham's format, but performing it in a way that reminds me of, you know those TikToks of when it's like Deadpool and Wolverine, like at Disneyland, because they're at Disneyland now, so they're being kind of raunchy, but it's still like for a child audience at Disneyland. You know, the way that Marvel has kind of co-opted spectacle, and the way that YouTubers have co-opted spectacle, and the way that comedians harness clapter, all to create a performance that is more disingenuous than stand-up comedy. Something that feels closer to watching a Marvel movie or taking a ride at Disneyland. Are we here watching theater? Is this WWE? Is it all one and the same? Who's to say? I'm just asking questions. Like Tommyinnit's live show feels like at the Video Game Awards when the dorks have to do a bit in between awards. That's too mean. Look, I like Tommyinnit. I think he is very funny, like personally. I loved his Weekend Update style, like Jon Stewart, Daily Show-esque, Internet Today show that he's doing. Because he is still wearing his influences on his sleeve, and I can smell those influences, Tommy. I know you're doing Weekend Update. I know you're doing Daily Show. I know you're just a comedy dork who is trying all the comedy things. I see you, Tommy, because I am you. I'm not gonna fault Tommy for doing something that is very, very reminiscent of another comedian when he is early on in his career and life. And I'm gonna commend the kid for being bold enough to try something, putting himself out there. I want to see this influencer speedrun you do where you start off with a mid-tier Bo Burnham and then get onto a 2000s era Jon Stewart Weekend Update thing. I want to see Tommyinnit's Kaufman, Tommyinnit's Dimitri Martin era. Let's see Tommyinnit's Cat Williams. To get things back on track for a second, all of the pitfalls that we talked about in the previous video, that Curtis Connor, Gus Johnson, Ryan Long, all seem to be held back by, but Noel was able to rise above those things. This is my advice to Tommy. Tommy, hey. You look at me, Tommy? If you want to separate yourself from YouTuber who does stand-up and just be a comedian, then you got to focus on stand-up for a little bit, which I assume is what you're doing. I assume the reason why I haven't seen a lot of your work floating around is because you're still working on your craft, and that's a good thing. Don't pull the bread out of the oven when it's not done breading yet. I would encourage you to go to open mics where nobody knows your name. I would encourage you to get comedian friends and go on tour with them and open up for them for an audience that has no idea who you are. Because I'm worried the dark side might be consuming you. Because in your special, it did seem like you relied really, really heavily on your built-in audience knowing who you are and being very excited to see you, which there's no fault in that. It's a fan event. You're a celebrity. Have your fun, get your bag. But if you want to be a good stand-up, you have to be able to walk into a room full of people that have no idea who you are, win them over, and then you're telling jokes. The audience has to go, who's this fucking guy? And then you gotta win him over. Don't lock yourself into Bo Burnham. Don't lock yourself into Jon Stewart. What's your style? What's your voice? Tommy, who's in you? Yeah. What's in Tommyinnit? So did Tommyinnit beat the unfunny allegations? I believe he did. Has he produced a quality stand-up special? No. Did he do a fan event that was exactly like how I say people who aren't traditional stand-ups do fan events for YouTube? Yes, that's exactly what he did. I fucking clocked it. Now, Tommy, you don't have to take any of my advice. I mean, what the fuck do I know? I've just been doing stand-up for 10 years, and I also have a stand-up special right here. It's called Trauma Bonding, and it's free right here on my YouTube. Tommy, I'm sure you've already seen it, but if you haven't, if you want to go ahead and give it a watch, it'd be great. And if you want to see more content like this, Tommy, I'm sure you do, then go ahead and leave a comment. Who else do you want to see me talk about, Tommy? If you become a member here on YouTube or on Patreon, then you can get access to videos early, exclusive content, priority chat. But if all that sounds like too much commitment, then the very least you can do is like and subscribe. All that jazz. I appreciate you. One last thing if you are still here, and thank you for being here. My youngest sibling currently has a GoFundMe to help fund their top surgery. We did a fundraiser stream recently for it where I did a little thing on this little poll to raise money for gender-affirming care. Okay? But it is Tez's birthday this month, so if you want to wish Tez a happy birthday and you want to help support somebody seeking some gender-affirming care in these crazy times we're currently living in, then the link for the GoFundMe is in the description, so if you can make a donation, that would be lovely. But if not, you know, like and subscribe, all that jazz. I appreciate you. You look at me, Tommy?